in my opinion, I do not believe we're dealing with black hats and white hats anymore. I believe we're dealing with gray hats and black hats. And what I mean by that is they both have their agenda that they're trying to accomplish. I believe they're probably both Masonic. In fact, I have some evidence to show that to be true. That being said, I do believe there are also white hats. And if you go look in a mirror, you're going to see one. Because it's all up to we, the people. We need to stop standing by waiting for somebody to do something. Does that mean the gray hats are bad? No, no, no. They just have an alternate agenda that is still to be our controllers in essence. Maybe they won't be the baby eating, child molesting controllers, which is great. So good. Gray hats, go take care of the bad guys.
Yep.
Eliminate them. But ultimately, we want our sovereignty and our freedom. Now, we can grab our sovereignty and ourselves, but we can work on not restricting our freedom. So I'm going to jump to Ethan because I know we've had these conversations before, and I know you'll have a wonderful take on this. But are we dealing with gray hats and black hats, do you think, or is it something different?
Well, I suppose it's all a matter of perspective, because to a bacterial cell or a colony of bacteria, bleach is evil. If it's on your countertop, they don't care where they're at. You go get the bleach because you don't want the bacteria there. You want the bacteria gone, so you get the bleach. To the bacteria, the bleach is evil. To you, the bacteria is evil. So it depends on who you ask. But I get your point when you say that we're probably not really dealing with white hats on that side of it as much as we are gray hats. And I would actually even take that a step further and say there are no white hats, there are no black hats. There's just varying shades of gray hats. Some are darker than others, if that makes sense. And this concept actually, for anybody who follows or has followed and I'm going to use this because it's a great analogy. It's a cultural meme that everybody knows, which is Star Wars. And you look at that storyline, Emperor Palpatine played the part of the senator who was a Sith Lord, who are the bad guys, because there's the Jedi who would be called the White Hats from this perspective we're talking about. And then the Sith who would be called the Black Hats. Well, it turns out Senator Palpatine was a Sith the whole time. He was a Black Hat. And the White Hats, the Jedi, did not see him working in the shadows. And he was able to start a war, play both sides using the Jedi, using the White Hats, and whoever else he wanted to in the process to achieve his goal, his final goal, which was making himself emperor in his own galactic empire, which is what I sort of foresee as kind of the battle that we're in the middle of. As crazy as that may sound, but I don't think this audience here would really think that's crazy. Maybe some people who are new to this might think it's crazy, but I feel like George Lucas was kind of giving us some insight on a lot of things. Like one crazy offshoot of that is like when that line that Obi-Wan Kenobi said, that's no moon, that's a space station. I think that was a clue because George Lucas knew all the guys over there in Hollywood who were working on the moon landing stuff. And, whether we actually went to the moon or not, I think is irrelevant. I think what's relevant at this point is we can all look at the original videos and pictures and we could tell that was not a real moon landing. Whether they were actually there or not, that was not a real moon landing. That was filmed in a Hollywood basement somewhere, as the Red Hot Chili Peppers so eloquently put it. So I'm looking at that storyline and I feel like that's what's playing out. And at the end of the day, if you follow the Star Wars insider lore and mythology that kind of became offshoots of the original George Lucas story, and what it amounted to was that white hats, because they're always too pure, they will never take an offensive strategy. They will never do anything questionable. They're always defeated. So the only surviving Jedi at the end of the day, besides Yoda and Obi-Wan, and it's questionable that they were purely white hats too, because they obviously took a selfish bent and the whole thing anyway. Yoda took off into exile. He abandoned ship. So you could say, well, maybe he was kind of a coward. And then Obi-Wan, sort of the same thing in a way. But the only one in that storyline who actually stuck around and stuck to her guns the whole time was Ahsoka, who was the Padawan learner of Anakin Skywalker, who became Darth Vader. She broke away from the Jedi Council, and she became what they call a gray Jedi.